What would you do if you were a K-pop fan who always dreamed of being in a group?
What would you do if your audition and process was filmed and then broadcast for the world to see in a competition show?
Well, that's what happened to 20 girls in the HYBE and Geffen training camp called Dream Academy. And we're going to talk about it today on CCTV, the non-stop pop show.
Popstar Academy Katseye is a Netflix documentary series showing the creation of a global girl group. And from 120,000 submissions from around the world, 20 girls were selected and competed for a spot in the group. And this series showcased their training, challenges, and eliminations.
Yes. You know what? I did not get a call or reach out. You guys know I like to audition for K-pop companies.
These girls were very, very young.
True.
Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. Because when I think about it, they were super young. Like, I think the youngest was like, 13 or 14?
One of those Japanese ladies, right? She was like 14, I think.
Yeah. And then there's the blonde girl. We'll get into it, guys. But that being said, it's been a long time since we've had a pop show about a pop star creation show that was good. You know, it's been a long time. I remember years ago auditioning before, the lockdown. I auditioned for not just for a girl group, but I auditioned for Making the Band.
Mm-hmm.
It was having a reboot before all the P. Diddler stuff happened, but it was having a reboot and I auditioned for it. And I was like, wow, how awesome would it be to be part of another moment in pop history where we're making a group. So it was nice to see that. And I remember watching Dream Academy as it was happening and being like, holy crap, like who's going to make it? I had my favorites. I was picking things like that. So I think it's interesting to see the whole process almost like for a new generation. And I mean, we grew up with it. So it was like, I was curious to see how people would receive it. Like, I know how I was looking at it. And I was like, interesting. Ooh, that's how I feel about, I don't know if I like this person. And then seeing how the public would react to the person, I was like, really? So it's kind of fun to have that like live audience and then be able to see comments. Cause like back in the day when we were watching the shows, it was like, watch it, be at home, maybe talk with your peers about it. But now it's like this influx of international fans giving their opinions too. And it's like kind of sick. So
yeah, I mean, obviously there have been a lot of the Korean creation shows, but this one is obviously the first in a long time with the more Western kind of view, I guess. And I loved it. I love Making the Band. Obviously, I loved Pop Stars. Like, I watched all of those. Yeah. So I was excited for another show like this. And of course, the way K-pop trains is way more intense, than I think people understand, actually. And a lot of the Korean shows that I've seen, it just doesn't feel as raw. Like, it still feels very produced. And so I appreciated that this one did feel quite raw, actually. And again, we just said it, but these contestants were so young. Like, I could not imagine being 15 and dropping everything and flying to LA to do this. Like, that's crazy.
It's
just if you look back at
your
like
baby.
Even if you look back at like pop stars and stuff, I feel like they didn't go as young as these girls did. I think maybe the youngest, maybe 16.
Yeah, the whole appeal back then was like being hot and kind of club worthy. So like, it was like, what can we get the hit in the clubs? Now it's like, what is the hit on TikTok? So I think the objective has changed, which is why the demographic has gotten younger. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot, and a lot of people have different opinions. So we're gonna just give ours about like the whole process and like even Dream Academy itself. So for the Netflix special that they had, which was interesting how they released it, I just wonder what would happen if they would release the Netflix special first. Let us get our biases all right then and there, and then showed us the results. How the votes would have panned out. I'm like, ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I kind of almost wish I didn't know who got in the group.
Right.
Because it would have been fun to see them in that first training stage and try to just figure out on my own, like if I could spot the star quality, because they spend so much time in the beginning, like Bang Si-hook and the other trainers, they're all like, the toughest thing is actually like trying to spot the star quality in the potential.
Yes.
But because I already knew who was in the group, I was like looking out for them.
Ooh, that's so valid. Yeah, totally. The training camp portion of the Netflix Pop Star Academy, not Dream Academy on YouTube.
Yes.
So the girls were selected for training and development that they called T&D. And the girls were trained for about a year in dance, vocals, facials, and so much more. And this process, as you said, is very common for K-pop. And viewers were given a sneak peek into the patented / infamous process. They had guidance from HYBE, like huge players at HYBE, like Sun, who's worked with BTS, Sung Si-hyuk, and Geffen A&Rs and executives and other choreographers who work with big names like Britney Spears. And it's like, holy crap. The girls were judged in their vocal, dance, visual performance, attitude, and star quality. And going back to what you were saying about being able to see if someone had like that it factor, I think it's so interesting how some of the people were chosen and either they were like really pretty and was like kind of sort of talented in terms of dancing and singing, could really dance, which is didn't really sing, but maybe could be thrown in as a rapper, or could really sing, but they were all like mixed bags.
Yes.
I wouldn't say that there was like a perfect trainee, but there were people where I was just like, oh, girl, if you don't make it, I'm going to question everything I know about a pop making process. I mean, I will say overall, I do get kind of surprised by people being so shocked by how intense K-pop is. Like, and I'm just like, I mean, I guess because if you have like this idea of like you're trying to be funny, like Eastern Asian people in your head where it's like, oh, they're so this and so that and it's so pleasant, blah, blah. You kind of start to forget that this is an industry. Like entertainment is an industry and its biggest product are people. So quality control is key. I was a dance company, dance teams, musical, and I was still going to school. I would go to school from like, wake up at 6 a.m, be there around 7-ish, be in school until about 3 o'clock, do after school program, do musical, and then somehow figure out how to do dance practice because we had a recital. And I did it. Did I cry a little bit? Yeah. Was I a little bit overwhelmed? Yeah. Did I get told things that made me hurt my feelings? Yes. But not making an excuse saying it's okay. But that's how things are. You have to be good, especially if you're in a group, because if you're the weak link, you'll either get thrown out or they just won't see. You don't want to do the weak link. That's my point. And it's so interesting how people are like, oh my gosh, how can you be so mean to these kids? But that wasn't mean.
Yeah.
That's not mean. That's, hey, I've seen you do really well. Why are you not doing that now? Hey, did you practice today? Did you practice yesterday? I noticed that you weren't doing it the way I've seen you do it before. Like, it's being held accountable. It's being held to a professional standard. I mean, I feel like the way they handled the girls in terms of their vocal practices, their dance lessons was very tasteful. They had girls who had been a little bit older doing some more of the heels dancing, a little bit quote unquote like suggestive kind of moves where they're touching and body rolling. The vocals, if they weren't there, was like, you suck. It was like, hey, you can hit this note. Let's figure out how to get there. I've heard many things. You suck. Oh my gosh, this was terrible. That's garbage. I've heard different things, not to myself, but to other people. This show is not as bad as it could get, especially what we grew up watching. I mean,
yeah. No, everyone was just blunt.
Yeah.
They were just realistic and blunt. And like you said, they were like, we have a standard and you have to hit it or else you won't make it in this business. And that's just the reality of it, And so even when they were pointing specific contestants out and was like, you are not getting it. It was never really done in a mean way. It was just kind of like, you need to pull up. Like, that's it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it is really tough. Like I said earlier, I don't know if I could have handled it as like a 15-year-old, but you have to be able to handle that to make it in this business. Like as you become a public figure, you're going to have the whole world judging you. Ooh. And so it is all just kind of prep for that. Like, and I love that they had a mental health professional that they would meet with as well. Like that definitely did not happen back in the day. So yeah, I did appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say though, compared to watching like Girlicious and like this other more Western kind of shows, the expectations here are much higher overall.
Yeah,
for
K-pop,
sure.
Because
K-pop, K-pop is crazy. Like, of course, we're both dancers. I get the idea of like every single thing, like everything has to be completely perfect.
Yeah.
And the way K-pop is now, you pretty much have to be as good as, if not better than, a professional dancer.
Yes, it's so like, it's like sterile, but like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's too like, the contrast between like when we first got into it to now is just like so stark. Where it's like,
because I think before, like watching Danny Decane and all that, it was like, obviously you can hit the steps and you can get the details where needed, but you were allowed a bit more freedom with like just putting your own flavor into it.
Yeah.
That is not the case with K-pop. It's yes, there is still an element of you need to stand out on your own.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not as free.
No.
And this also just proved, this whole process proved that vocals are definitely the lower priority.
Word
for
up.
Sure.
Word up.
Which I still kind of hate that. And I get that that's just the current state of music, I guess, in general.
This is true. This is
that the visual is just the most important. And we did get to see them train in harmonies and stuff briefly. And not even all of them. I feel like it was just the ones that were known as the singers, that got to actually do that. And they did improve. Like, obviously, they showed Emily. I think she was one where she could not stay on pitch, like in the beginning. And she improved quite a lot vocally by the end. She did. But yeah, we'll talk more about the vocals, I think, later when we get to the missions and stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, what did you think of Manon? I guess the big drama here, other than who was it that got Naisha that got eliminated for breaking the NDA? What did you think of her situation? And then we'll talk about Manon.
So with Naisha, so a lot of people who are listening to this or like maybe just finding this don't know us probably, and definitely don't know me, but I've auditioned for a lot of shows. And even though I haven't gotten on to some and I've gotten on to others, the amount of things I've had to sign to say, you can't tell anyone that you've been, you can't even tell your mom because your mom might tell someone and they might say that Chantel's going to do X, Y, and Z. You can't do that. You can't say what you're working on. You can't even, I've auditioned for pilots. You can't even say, oh, it is going to be kind of sort of about this. Even if they put a press release out, that's them. They're the ones that are allowed to say whatever, whenever. But you as a contestant or a cast member cannot speak on that. Now, regardless of everyone having social media when they were not supposed to, she was the one that had the most damnable evidence on her page. Even posting a snippet or even the melody is copyright infringement on like so many degrees. You have the songwriters you have to worry about, the producers that made the musical composition. You got people who's got the math. There's so many layers of WTF were effed that she could possibly be infringing upon, that everyone's like, oh my God, I think that's so unfair. It was just, but everyone has, no, honey, you just think that was a huge no-no. So what's fair is that you were told not to do something. You signed a contract and you knew the consequences. You put too much dip on your chip, got excited. I get it. You're a young lady, but you knew what the stipulations of the contract were, which is why I think it was so impactful that they had the girls read the contract. Because I don't think they realized how serious this crap was until they lost someone that they actually cared about. Because it's like, you're going to ruin something that we've been preparing for maybe years for, just because you want people to know that you're doing it. Yeah. Just do it. So for me, I get it. It sucks. But at the end of the day, if you can't follow the rules, it's like, babe, you got to go. You got to go. She was very talented, but I don't think she was like girl group material anyway.
I mean, I think she was listed as one of the underdogs, which I think that's hilarious that they even put a couple ladies in that category.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you're the underdog. But I don't think she was going to make the group anyway. And I think they already kind of knew they were going to eliminate her. So they kind of used her as collateral a little bit and to kind of make a point. Which on that side of things, I'm like, ooh, like that's where kind of the TV show kind of comes in and where they're trying to add drama. Because I personally think even if she wasn't eliminated and they went through the rest of the exercise of them reading everything and getting kind of reprimanded and stuff. Yeah. I think they still would have. I think the point still would have been made there. Yeah. I think she was eliminated in that way more for drama, honestly, for the show.
Dang. Damn.
But I don't think, like I said, I don't think she would have made it as far anyway, because she just wasn't improving as fast as they wanted her to.
Yeah, that is definitely a good point. I agree with that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Regarding Manon, though, first off, it's so interesting because I went down a Reddit hole after this and I looked at kind of just current opinions on it because I heard that people were saying that, oh, like this just shows that, you know, maybe the Katseye girls are not that close, like that they have blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And I was looking at kind of just what people thought about it. And again, people, I think, are just overreacting a little bit.
Totally, yeah.
Because first off, Manon is from Europe, where their work ethic in general, like just culturally, is just not as high. Like they value work-life balance a lot more than they do in the East, I would say, and here in America, but especially in the East. And so I think going from that culture to then suddenly being like, even when you're not in rehearsal, we're expecting you to practice. And
I said that to my students.
All of that. Like, I think that's not the easiest concept to actually grasp, I think, if you're not aware of it. And if you've never had to deal with that before. And I think I couldn't tell if it was just the way they edited it. I think it made it look like it lasted for quite a long time before anyone said anything also.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
I was more just kind of like, look, if she missed a rehearsal, wouldn't the producers and all the training people already kind of be like, hey, like what happened? You know?
Yeah.
Which then, of course, then she was also put in like her own, she didn't have to live with the other girls and stuff. And it did feel a little bit like she then got special treatment, but then they alluded to like mental health
and being
stuff
physically
going on.
sick as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I couldn't really tell how much of it was
produced and how much of it was real.
How much of it was really just an excuse, maybe also. Also, how much of it was produced for drama. I don't know. I think she got it at the end. Like when she had that group conversation, and it's been a year or more than a year, right? Since then.
Yes.
So look,
oh my God.
I'm sure they've worked it out. Like this doesn't reflect any of the current bad blood, even if there is, but we don't know. But like, I don't think this reflects that. Yeah.
I mean, coming from an environment where I had a dance friend that was competitive and she always wanted things to be perfect. Like she was very much like, come on, let's get it together, stop talking. And I was the one I was like, personality hire in the dance team. So if I missed something, she'd be upset. Because it's like, now we have to reteach it. That's why I get the, frustration there as being a Manon for a little bit in terms of like, oh, I wasn't there at the rehearsal. But I think what became even more of an irritant for them was the fact that she had no apparent vocal and dance skill that could actually combat against a Lara, a Megan, or a dance skill that could go against an Emily or an Adela. That's when it became a little bit more like a little bit of salt on the wound, I think. And I can agree with that. I mean, maybe because of like visa reasons, she wasn't in the first bit of rehearsals and she was getting training in her own country. But when she finally did get there, it's just, I don't know. All this stuff was just happening, and then she got sick, and then it was like she's sitting down, not working, and then they show the scene with her at her aunt's house, and she's like, I'm not gonna go. And the sister was like, oh, okay. And so I was saying, no, sis, you should go. This is a big chance. It was okay. And I was like, oh no, oh Jesus. So when I was watching it, I was like, oh no. And truth be told, I'm glad they kept some of that in it, because it's just like, it's frustrating to watch someone who is very beautiful, but then have these opportunities instead of being sat down, like, do you actually want to be here? Because you may not be prepared for it, but we're trying to do something here and you're not. You know what I'm saying? So it's frustrating because Lara was like, it's because she's pretty. And it is. It is. Because I remember before even the show came out, I was watching Dream Academy and I was like, who is that? And why does she look like this? She's unreal. And I was like, she's so pretty. But after a while, when I watched the Netflix drama, I was like, okay, enough's enough. Pretty what? Okay, you're pretty, but what? I was getting kind of annoyed too. And she may not mean any malicious harm, but it's frustrating. And just going back to what I was saying about being like kind of, if I was absent because I couldn't get a ride or some other bull crap, my friend was super competitive. We danced together and I messed up. She got mad. Like she was that kind of person. But she literally is one of my best friends now. She was in my music video, you know her, and we were all dancing together. You would never know that she and I were like, well, I didn't mess up the dance. You messed up the dance and you were not practiced. Like you would never know that because why is not that important? Like in the moment, it sucks. You're mad, but time passes. You talk things out and you realize, you know what? It's not that serious. Are you present now? Yes. And that's what I do appreciate that she did get herself together. I mean, toward the end, she started kind of going back and forth again, which irritated me a little bit, but it's human. It's human. My biggest thing is that the company seemed to be kind of patting her a little bit because they're like, she's so pretty. She'd be great. Because at the end of the day, the visual treatment. Yeah. The visual is the person that's meant to grab people. So I think for a little bit, I was like, Come on, y'all. Come on. Don't make
That's
us
what I
go
mean, though, again, is I couldn't really tell how much of it was made more dramatic by the TV show and the edit. Because, like I said, it did feel like it lasted for a very long time before anyone kind of told her what the other ladies were feeling.
Yeah.
You know, like it was just like, this should have come through much faster, I think.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell if maybe it actually did, and they just made it prolonged for the edit, for the drama of it all.
Super weird, yeah.
But no, I'm the same, you know, like I've been in a bunch of dance groups and performances and stuff, and it's annoying when someone misses rehearsal.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's so annoying when someone doesn't put in as much effort.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it is different if someone has the skill to make up for it. And so she didn't, right? So it was kind of like, you know, it's kind of like, okay, like she isn't as good as us, and she's missing everything, and no one's reprimanding her, and she's getting all this special treatment. Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, hindsight, again, it's crazy.
Like, that should have been nipped in the bud earlier on. Like, when they talked to the mental health specialists and stuff, like, I don't know. Again, it just, the timing of it, I thought was odd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, hopefully she's fine now, I guess.
Yeah, I think they're good. I feel like they're all actually like, you know what, whatever. It was the show. She's here. We're present. You know, so good for her. And speaking of the show, so we're going to just kind of go back to after training and talk about that competition reveal. Now, the shows we've watched, there's never been like, hey, y'all.
Guess what?
Guess what? You're going to be on a show where millions of people are going to judge you, or hundreds of thousands. I don't know, because there wasn't much promotion around this.
Tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
Those votes weren't very high. Like, when they were revealed, they were like, oh, it's like 30,000 votes versus, I was like, oh, that's like really low for HYBE, I feel like. But anyway, continue.
Okay, point is, y'all, competition was announced to the girls after a year of training. Some inserts of different trainees coming in after their year, and more trains were added. So then, while in the midst of training and development, the HYBE CEO decided to expedite the process, and then finally revealed that there will be a survival show which took all the contestants by surprise, which is understandable, because now you have all the sisterhood and camaraderie being tested by an outward competition. Yes. So there's extra stress. Like, you know, it's a lot. Like, what do you think about that? I mean,
I would have been mad. I would have been mad. I would have wanted to know that I was getting into this earlier on. It's interesting because, yes, they kept using the angle of like, oh, now their sisterhood is being tested.
Yeah.
But they were always in competition. Like, they were being judged against each other just by a bunch of executives before. Yeah. But they were still in competition. They knew they were not all going to make the group. So I feel like I personally would have wanted to know that it was leading to a survival show to then get into the group. I feel like I would have trained just as hard. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that would have affected my ability to train and improve, or my camaraderie with my contestants, because I'm already in competition with them regardless.
I think the ante does get upped a little bit, because now you have this global spotlight, and you have these influences from the outside, which you get the favoritism, fandom get put to the test.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
But I would have wanted to, that's why I would have wanted to know that, though.
Yeah, because it's stressful. It is. Because it's like, once you, like, say, for example, we had a poll and like our Western pop fans were like, yeah, Chris, we love Chris. And then the K-pop fans were like, yeah, we love shit. Both of you like, well, we know where we stand. Like, you and I already know. We talk about it all the time. But the point is, what if our fans were like, yeah, we just love freaking Chris? I'm like, well, just call it the C show then, because why am I here?
Oh my God,
you know, I'm totally joking. But the point is, I get it. Once you have a bunch of people that you want to eventually perform for, saying, yeah, but we like so-and-so better, it doesn't feel good. It causes tension, which could also affect where you land in this group, because if the chemistry's off and you're not performing there's like this weird, like, secret element that gets added, because, it's rough. I would hate to like be put up against. I don't like competitions like this. I'd rather just be like, all together, we've noticed this, we want you. Like, cherry pick me, not here's the fruit for you all to pick from, and everyone's like, I want a banana, and I'm like, but I'm a really good cherry. So it's kind of like, it sucks. It sucks. But this is what they use to also increase the hype around it, which also sucks, because I'm like, you have Geffen, one of the biggest company, and y'all telling me you couldn't just get posters or like buses or like something else other than like traumatic visual representation of this competition. But I mean, for them to jump into it, kudos to them. And also, who the heck were those 3 trainees that they kept showing on the dang screen of the Netflix special, but wasn't showing on the Angelina, and two other girls. They kept showing these girls. I'm like, they're gonna show up one day. They never did.
Yeah, I will say there were a few contestants that they barely showed, but there's only so much time in these episodes.
This is true.
Also, we didn't say this earlier, but shout out to that casting lady.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Great job.
When she was explaining her process of finding all these girls, I thought it was fascinating. She did such an amazing job. I thought the pool was really, really good. As a pool, it was very, very talented. Very, very much very talented.
Yeah.
And all of them were kind of different as well.
Yeah.
She killed that.
I will say I'm very curious as to why they did not have a unambiguous black girl on the show. Manon's biracial, no offense, but I was like, where the brown at? Where the brown at? That's just me. That's just me. I just like to see a little bit of Tootsie Roll colored girls on the TV. That's just me though. Aside from that,
that's fair.
I did enjoy the diversity, the almost kind of competition within the countries or the ethnicities of the girls, because you had two girls who were Indian ethnicity wise, two girls that were Japanese, two girls that were Korean, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of ooh, interesting. So I think overall though, I agree with you. It was just a nice pick of people.
Yes.
Totally. I agree.
Yes. So in the Dream Academy series on YouTube, contestants' fates would be decided by both management and global fans. And as the series progressed, viewers from all over the world were allowed to cast their votes for their favorite trainees. And even social media interactions affected the rankings and editing for the contestants.
Oof. Yeah. Oh, man. It's interesting because it's how do we approach this? Do we just talk about Dream Academy, or do we talk about the Netflix series that led into? It's so weird because, again, the way they released everything. Yeah. When I'm watching Dream Academy, I have my opinions. And then now that I'm watching the Netflix thing, I was like, oh my God, I got got. I got. For example, there would be moments where I'm watching it and I'm like, as a K-pop fan, I can see the appeal of certain people. And then as a Western music fan, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I think this girl would be way better in the group. But unfortunately, I don't know. K-pop fans were the only people that seem to have known about this show. And I was like, dang, we need other people in this, because you want to promote them as a global group, but not trying to be funny. People want to make it here in American music so that the music does reach a more wider audience. K-pop is big, but there's still this weird little stigma because it's K-pop. You make it here in America, everyone knows your name.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what it is. Our greatest export are people. When you come here, you got to be exported, So it's just interesting how they were just really focused on getting that K-pop sound, the K-pop look, doing K-pop song covers and making them sound like K-pop girls. So I kind of had excitement for it, but also is this gonna be just a cover group essentially where they're just singing K-pop demos? So I kind of was excited, but also a little bit wary about it. And then now looking at the Netflix stuff, it was very much, we're trying to make a little K-pop girl group that's singing English. We want it to be global, but just with K-pop and, K-pop music. I wonder, like I said, if the Netflix documentary was released first and then, bam, now everyone's little dirty laundry. Here it is, YouTube special. Bam, let's watch it. How would the votes be affected? Would Manon's work ethic be questioned? Would Adele, who can sing her face off and dance really well, would she had been appreciated more? Would Lexi, who had center potential, according to the Netflix show, been someone that people looked out for? But she kept getting slotted in groups that weren't really getting a lot of attention. So it's one of those things where I'm like, oh my goodness. I was watching the show, already mentally picking my girl group. And I could honestly say, watching the YouTube show and then seeing who made it in, only maybe one or two girls didn't make it, from my pick.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two. But now that I watched the Netflix show, I'm like, oh my God, that girl would have been great in here. Damn, she would have been good. Because I didn't know that she could actually give what she's been giving, because what we saw on the YouTube show was just but a fraction of someone's talent. And I'm like, dang. So I'm just like, dang. I don't know how I feel. I feel a little bit not played, but it's just I don't know how to describe it. I mean, things worked out the way they were going to work out, but it just feels like we didn't get the full picture, especially with Adele. Oh, yeah. I mean, the process you're explaining is kind of
American Idol and those kind of shows worked. Like, you watched them audition and you watched all the like boot camp before the live shows. So you kind of already made those connections before you watched them kind of do their thing live.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's how pop stars work too. Like with Girls Aloud, like that's how that all worked too.
I'm spoiled.
Yeah, I will say I think the overall setup of the competition was done well, but I agree it was not marketed well. Because actually, I remember you telling me about it. Because I think you sent me Mission 1. Like, you sent me those videos and you were like, oh, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
I barely knew anything about it. I knew Geffen was like working on something, but they did not market this competition in a way that made me want to participate.
No.
At all.
No.
Yeah, so I found that, I don't know, it's just interesting, I think, looking back on what they did. Because I know so many people that would have found this fun.
Yes.
You know, found this, and it just, you're right. Maybe because they made it so niche, it just didn't, I don't know. I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. But anyway, I think the overall setup was good. I agree with you, though. I mean, I remember from watching those competitions, I was like, oh, okay, it's just a K-pop group with non-Koreans.
Korean, yeah.
I was like, okay. And maybe that's also why I like just wasn't that interested. Like, especially with Mission 1, which we'll talk about in a second. But it's like, oh, they're just like doing dance covers of like New Jeans. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is okay, like whatever. Yeah, I do think, I do wish each contestant got a solo moment. Yeah. Like, even if it's just one of those 1 minute like teaser type things where it's like you get to choose what you do. Like, you can sing and dance, you can just sing, you can just dance. Show us what you think your biggest strength is in 1 minute. Go. Yeah. I think that would have helped a lot as a mission as well. But yeah, you mentioned kind of the countries kind of getting behind certain contestants. What did you think of all that dynamic? Because I thought the Americans saying that the Americans were not supporting them, I thought that was like kind of hilarious. But anyway.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're not just American. You're blankety blank American. No one's just American here. Like, there is no criteria for being American regardless, despite what some people may think. There's not just American face. I'm Black American. You're Chinese American. You're Korean American. You're Australian. Whatever it is. So certain groups within those sects are going to support the people that look like them. If I want to saw a little Tootsie Roll colored girl, I'm like, she's Black American. She's African. Yes, I would have rooted, especially if she was good, honey. Especially if she was good. But I had no skin. I literally had no skin in the game. So I was like, I literally was like, whoever's good, whoever is good. Whatever I think is this. I didn't vote, but I was like, okay, I liked Megan. Megan was giving me face. She was giving me body. She was giving me movement. She was giving me. I like Lara. She's giving me this. That's what I was kind of going off of. But yeah, I think it's interesting how people are like, the Americans were like, no one likes me. Girl, you better tap into whatever mother tongue you know. And you better hope that the people in the country that resonate with you and outside the country, your motherland, resonate with you as well. I mean, a lot of the girls did that on the show. Like Lara, she spoke in Tamil, I think it is, that her family speaks. And people were like, oh my gosh. Sophia, Tagalog. You know what I'm saying? Daniela, Spanish. There's a lot of people here who speak Spanish. It's like, oh my gosh.
I mean, I think also with a lot, like the Philippines, for example, like some countries are just very passionate in general, right? Yeah. So like, I remember even when it was Fourth Impact that was on X Factor in the UK, you know, like the Philippines, like this was a British competition, but they were supporting them from over there, you know,
You're
like
right,
even they also had no direct impact on any of that, but they were just excited that someone from their country was, you know, somewhere. And America just doesn't really have that. I think, you know, at the end of the day, we're kind of already everywhere. Yeah. And yes, like maybe these weren't Asian Americans that were taking part in this, but we have a lot of American idols already. You know, like almost every group now pretty much has an American or at least a really good English speaker or someone who spent some time in America.
Yes.
Growing up. And so it's just not as novel, you know, as having like, oh my God, there's an Indian contestant or two Indian contestants. Like that's rare.
Yes.
You know, like I think for Americans, it's kind of like, oh, okay, they're Americans in this competition. Great.
Yeah. No, literally. It's like, oh, someone's from Slovenia. Excuse me, not Slovakia, but she's from Slovenia.
Yeah.
Like, woo, what's that? You know?
Right.
So,
it's so,
so hilarious, though.
But, you know, I think, I was curious how they were going to explain how they were going to separate the public votes from the executive votes and how they were going to weigh that. And they never really fully explained if there was a percentage split or how they were weighing that. From what it sounded like, it was more just like the executives would just take into account the public vote while making a decision. So I'd actually be curious to learn more directly how they took that into account. Like Sophia, for example, like I think she was already kind of up there talent-wise anyway. But I think she's probably a good example of like, her country's behind her. They will get
as well.
Support from that. It's kind of like Black Swan. I don't know if people watching the Apple TV documentary, but even in that, they're like, we wanted
the Brazilian,
Indian, and we wanted a Brazilian. Yeah, like they were kind of very clear about that. So
now I know I didn't make the group. They filled their quota for the Tootsie Girl.
Oh, gosh.
All right, so as the show progressed, we got our first mission, which were like vocal and dance displays, I guess. So we had the vocal teams performing Paramore's Still Into You, which was a special arrangement. And then we had another team performing Robin/Billie Eilish, a mashup of Dancing on My Own and Happier Than Ever. And then we had the dance teams that performed Blackpink's and Pink Venom, and then New Jeans OMG, excuse me.
Yes.
At the end of these missions, this one mission, Adela and Hinari were eliminated.
Yes.
See, now you watched the Netflix documentary first, right?
Well, no, I had seen, because you sent me these missions to watch. Yeah. But I only watched the missions. I never saw any other footage. I didn't watch the eliminations. I didn't watch any of the non-performance stuff. I was literally only watching the missions themselves. Yeah.
Okay, so me watching this, I can tell you for a fact that I was watching it going like, oh, wow. Team 1 who's singing Paramore Still Into You, they sound so good. Like, I just feel like however they decided to put these girls together just felt a little like oddly matched. Like, I get since vocal groups were selected based on their potential blend and like visual compatibility. Like, that's what I'm getting from that. Because like group 2 wasn't bad, but when they were singing Happier Than Ever, it just sounded like a bunch of soloists singing together at a Stand Up to Cancer event. It wasn't like, it wasn't like a full blend. But then the Paramore group had some of the show's more outstanding vocalists that could also blend, that could also vocalize, that could also handle their own in an ad lib. And I was like, interesting. I wonder how y'all figured out how to put these people together and why you put them together like this. Remember watching it and being like, bam, the Paramore group is the one. I like it. I enjoy it. With the dance groups, I was like, okay, I see the dancing. I have my little standout here and there. I definitely like Megan, like off rip. And then in group 2 with OMG, I was like, well, Emily's killing it. Jeez Louise. Like, you could see that obviously. But again, going back to what I know with the Netflix show, Adela should have been in a singing group because that girl can hit notes. She can actually sing. Can she dance? Yes, but she was not standing out against Megan, who had the most screen time in the edit, because I got snatched up by Megan too. And I was like, damn, I got, dang it. Things like that. And I'm like, holy crap, she should have been singing. So she can
Adela was robbed. I will say, I think Adela was robbed.
Absolutely. I didn't notice her, and I felt bad for not noticing her. But when I watched the Netflix special, I was like, she has a work ethic. She has an interesting visual. She can dance. She can sing. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I will say I don't like how some of it was edited in terms of like the dance portions. Like, you focus on one person, your eyes are going to be on that one person because they have the killing part or whatever. And then with the vocals in the vocal groups, it's overly processed, but it made them sound like a little bit like rope tinny. Tinny is the word I want to use here.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like, I feel like the way that stuff was edited and matched up, I feel like my eyes and my ears were trained and geared toward one over the other. I'm just saying. That just could be me being easily brainwashed and malleable. I don't know. But something just felt a little like, this is the perfect set. Bam. This is the perfect set. Bam. Here's the edit. Yeah. And even Carly made a comment about it. I'm going to talk about it later. But the Netflix show, she had made a comment about how editing was kind of altered based on how fans were reacting to it. So
yeah, you can tell that.
Yeah, I know as a fan, I was like, ooh, so-and-so killed it. But it was because it was edited that way. I was like, shoot, I got snatched.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, I remember watching Still Into You because I thought the arrangement was really nice, actually.
Yeah.
But I hate the way the vocals are processed in both of those.
God, yeah.
Like they add so much reverb. There's clearly tuning in there.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of post leveling as well, which is fine. But like if you want to make it seem like a live performance, you don't need all of that.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to make it sound like a studio performance.
Mm.
But you know, the harmonies are nice and like all the training has paid off. Like all the chemistry seemed fine, like seemed relatively natural.
Yeah.
I thought the Robin Billie Eilish mashup was not good. Like I just did not like the arrangement of that at all. Like I think just based on the song, like the girls who got to do Still Into You were just lucky because that arrangement was just so much better, honestly. With the dance teams, I wish they did get original choreography, because if you're going to give the vocal groups original arrangements, or at least just something different from the originals are, I hate that they just did K-pop covers. I hate that.
Yeah, that's valid.
It's hard. It's really hard to gauge star quality, I think, from that. And so I wish they got, I just wish they got more curated in like new choreography.
Point. Awesome point, because Adele's a ballerina. Give her something to do with her leg.
Exactly. Let them show off their strengths a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
I did find Hinari, the whole edit of Hinari, I found very interesting. Like, first off, they barely show her actually, like in the final mission video anyway. But, you know, when they were showing Adela, like, and the other girls, like, helping her and pushing her a bit, look, she was really young and she was holding it down. Like, honestly, I watched the mission again just to watch her, and I was like, you know what? She's really not bad. Like, maybe she was the worst out of everyone, but like I was like, okay, this is a little dramatic for no reason. Like, she actually improved quite a lot. She actually did improve quite a lot. She wasn't like such a huge liability. Like, trust me, I've been in dance groups where there have been we've been in
classes with people in jeans. Okay. Anyway, point is, I think it may have been an articulation thing, because sometimes she was an attack, like a dynamism thing, but she wasn't like not getting the steps. So I think they made it seem like she was inept.
Yes, like, you're right. I was like, oh, she's like actually like not that bad.
She's not dumb. Like, please stop playing in her face. And then the other girl, Yua, I think she was the one that was like trained in heels and stuff like that. So it's like, comparatively, you have two Japanese girls, but one of them is eating you up and giving you dancing from the cookies. Like, she's giving you And the other one's just like, well, I really want to be here. Which one is you're not going to bother the one that's going to sit there and stomp on you with a heel. You're going to bother the one that's like kind of sort of sweet and nice. Yeah. So but she got shafted a bit. Poor baby.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. So mission 2, they got to fly to Seoul, and they were split into 4 teams. 2 did a cover of Fearless by Le Sserafim, and 2 did a cover of Anti-Fragile by Le Sserafim. And at the end of this mission, Brooklyn, Ilya, Carly, and May were eliminated.
Yeah. This one was interesting because, like, the people that got eliminated, I remember very much not being mesmerized by these people when I watched the playback, the challenge, whatever, the video.
Yeah.
I recall when I was watching it thinking, why would they choose these 2 songs? Like, obviously, Le Sserafim was HYBE's new girl group and that you want to promote it, but like this whole like sneak cross promotion bull crap is getting so old now, because the girls themselves, Le Sserafim, have a hard time singing and dancing it themselves. And now you're asking a bunch of girls who have
No, you're right. Yes, you're
sorry,
right.
everyone. But it's a lot of movement. You're flipping your hair. You're on the floor. You're shaking your body. You're kicking your body. You're moving your body around, moving away. Yeah. Sing your song. Good luck. Like, are you kidding me? And it's like,
no, the songs are actually tough to sing because they're all breathy, and it's like, like it's hard to do that like while you're like throwing your body around.
Yes, and it's even the girls who can sing are sitting there fighting for their lives, and I'm like, it's so wrong. You could have given them so many other songs to do.
Yes, that's right.
You could have given them other girl group songs from yesteryear from the West to do, because you know what they did? They danced. You could have done a lot. You could have made new choreography. But yeah, I just was not happy about that, and it was just a little unfair. And I also find it interesting that in the Netflix series, they kept Carly's comment about having better edits of her vocals.
That's right.
That they kept from the actual final edit.
Yes.
And I've heard this girl sing, not like personally, but we've heard them in different.
Yeah.
And she can sing. She's a little bit more R&B based, but she can sing. We've heard her when she did the Robin Billie Eilish thing. She can sing. So why is it now she sounds like she's a fluke in this group? So I thought that was so not fair. But yeah, the plug of La Seraphim, which is unnecessary. I think at that point, charisma had to be the standout factor with some surprising vocal moments, and that's so unfair. Like, I mean, at that point when I was watching it, Samara kind of stood out to me. Sophia stood out. Like, Lara was pushing past some of like the vocal stylings of the HYBE whispering. It was actually trying to project. With the Fearless group, I felt even worse for them because the song was whispering, and you got Manon who can kind of hit those notes, but it wasn't really singing, but giving you face. So bam, instantly you're like, who's in this group? You had Daniela in this group. Wow, amazing. Then you get to group 2, who's wearing the all blue, and you had Brooklyn, Lexi, other people who I can barely remember right now. And I really can't tell you why. Something about the way these groups were shuffled is just so strange. Like they said, well, we balanced it out. I can't remember anyone that was super, super outstanding in group 2, blue, the blue outfit for Fearless, except maybe Lexi, because she sounded the most like natural in that range. But the first group, wow, with Manon and Danny, and I was like, holy crap, this is great. So what did you think about it all when you were watching it? Did you watch it like just now or like when I sent it?
No, I remember watching it at the time.
Okay.
And I remember actually being mad that they didn't just give them 4 different songs. Like, why? Why just, I don't know.
Oh my God, good point. Very good point. Like, what's
also, again, vocal processing annoys me because parts of it sound pre-recorded.
Yes.
And some of them don't.
Yes.
But then the whole thing is clearly, again, just processed.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, for example, like, if you're jumping up and down, your voice is not going to be stable. Like, because it's physically, like, not possible. And there are moments in this where they are moving quite a lot and the vocals sound too stable. But then there are other points where they're, like, shuffling their feet really fast, but then there's clearly a shake in their vocals. So it's like, okay, so it was live, ? So I'm just a little bit confused by all the vocal takes in general, because I watched them all again, like, after watching this Netflix doc. And I was still confused by all of it. I was like, did they just, I don't understand.
They ADR'd
this vocal
it.
Doesn't sound real.
There's no way they didn't ADR, use ADR. Yeah. Because, like, it's stupid. It's not consistent.
But yeah, and then like you said, these songs are not easy to sing. Like, honestly, even if you took, I don't know, Celine Dion and Kelly Clarkson and you had them learn this choreo and try to sing these songs, they wouldn't sound great either. Because these songs are just not melodic.
You know what? That, and also K-pop does not allow for you to change the key that you need to sing in while you're performing.
Yeah.
Because I would have been...
You can't even change up a note, let alone the key. Like, you can't even, like, switch things up just to, like, make things, different or easier for yourself.
Because if I'm dancing, you know what I'm doing? I'm singing the F out. Like, what you looking at? What you looking at? What you
it's impossible. It's very tough. And so overall, I think the vocals sound terrible. Like, these songs are just not meant to be sung live like that.
No.
And especially, I think with La Seraphim, a lot of them have thinner tones as well, which kind of works. A lot of these contestants have thicker, raspier tones, just overall, I would say.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't work as much with these songs either. I don't think so. It was just like all just like not a great showcase for any of them.
No,
overall.
It was a charisma show at that point. It really was. And it's like, who stood out?
Right. Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I think it was also interesting because this was when you kind of notice more just kind of the vibe each one's giving. Yeah. Like, for example, like Emily, she's so good, but her frame is just so much smaller than everyone else. And so when she's standing in between Sophia and Lara, and Yoonchae as well, but like she just looks so much smaller, so it just looks off. So even though she's killing it, I don't know. So those are kind of interesting things to kind of just start noticing.
No, it makes sense. Yeah. Have you watched?
No, go ahead.
I was saying, have you watched the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader?
I have.
And one of the girls, great dancer, but they're like, it looks like a little sister running after everyone.
Right.
That's what it's giving. Yeah, great dancer. It's just
Ezrella kind of has that a little bit as well.
Yes. Yeah. Oh God, I forgot about her. I felt so bad because she got shafted.
Very talented, very talented. But yeah, I think just visually, she just didn't fit as well with everyone else. But yeah, I think from watching these back, like, Oh man, like Daniela is such a star. I think Manon, she stood out way more in this than she did the first mission as well. Megan, like you mentioned, as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously, like it showed their talent. At least it did show their potential in ways, but I just feel like there were better songs that they could have had them to.
I agree, but it's all about this whole like let's sneak our stop trying to promote a group that's already big. Stop it. We don't need you to promote.
Like, just give them something original to do, you know?
Yeah. Which they should have,
which I get that was mission 3, so I guess they were building up to that, like kind of, but like
I get okay. So annoying. We don't agree with the way it was done.
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
So what did you think of Lexi withdrawing at this point as well?
Oh yeah. So Lexi, for those who do know, I mean, you should know at this point, but if you don't know, Lexi was one of the contestants in the Netflix series that was not with the whole we're a competition show now. And I understand that. The executives were very shocked because apparently they looked at her and heard her and were like, bam, she could make it. Which is interesting because when I saw her and I heard her sing, I was like, but then she got into that studio and sang their demo song. And I was like, okay, hang on. There's something there. So you have someone who's potentially a center. You screwed her over, or she feels like you screwed everyone over, rather. And her beliefs and her principles were like, yeah, I'm out. I can respect that. But I wonder what would have happened had she stayed.
Definitely.
Would the group not be this tall collection of like brats baddies? Or would it be more geared around an Israela?
That's right.
An Emily or a... So like literally this girl could have been the fulcrum of this show.
Yes.
But we'll never know. And I think that's crazy. I remember watching the show and being like, oh, the little one's gone? I don't remember. and then I watched the thing. I was like, oh yeah, she sounded good. Now watching the Netflix show, I developed a respect for her. So when they got to that challenge, I was like, damn, I feel bad for not realizing who she was. And then the next episode she leaves. I'm like, dang it, girl, good for you. But I wanted to like you. Now that I know, now I realize how talented and how much you wanted this. You know? So I was like, dang, what do you think about it? Like,
I respect her. I respect her for what she did. She was just like, I don't want to do this. This is bad. You know, obviously a lot of it came from, or I guess the last straw, I guess, it was that situation where they revealed to all the girls what they thought were secret choices of who they wanted in the group. Yeah. And it caused some drama before this elimination.
Yeah. That's messy. That part I think was super messy.
That was messy. It was so interesting hearing that TV executive woman talk about it because like she literally was just like, we didn't really think about their feelings. We just needed drama. And it was like, sorry that they felt that. You know, I was like, dang.
You know, but you know what? At least they admitted it.
This is like, television. This is
they got
what
produced.
You should expect, really, like when you're going into a reality show. Unfortunately,
they got produced. Like, they got produced. Sorry, girls.
Yeah, but I thought it was so mean the way they did the numbers. Like this girl got put in like 6 people's groups. This person got put in 0. You know, like I was like, dang, that's so mean. Like you don't need to tally it. No, they know. They heard.
Did you hear what she said? Everyone was like, who's going home? This person. And they go, and she goes, don't do that. You didn't want me here. I was like, good for you. Good for you. Because don't be in my face.
Yes.
To attack him. You don't want me here. Suck my butt.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I did think that was pretty mean to do.
It was mean. It was mean.
Yeah.
But good for her for being like, don't do that. You did not want me in the group talking about... She's like... She's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Don't gasp.
Oh, man.
A mess. But again, kudos to her.
Yes.
And being able to watch it in the Netflix show was pretty cool too. So good for her. I wish her all the best.
Yes.
So right after that, I think she actually did go to Korea, didn't she?
Yeah.
So
this was after that.
Yeah. So she's in Korea and she's like, hey, I'm going home. F it. So the girls then proceeded on to Mission 3, which were Western song covers. And you had
with original choreography.
Oh my gosh. I mean, granted, Western singers are like, I'm going to give you these vocals. And say,
I mean, Pussycat Dolls. That's a decent routine. Right. I mean, the other two don't really have anything.
Okay. Well, guys.
But yes, original choreography.
Original. Yes. So yes, Demi Lovato's Confident, the Pussycat Dolls' Buttons, Spice Girls' Wannabe were all the songs that were performed. And during this round, Celeste, Yeonjang, and Ua, or eliminated. So, oh, man. Finally get a chance to hear their voices, get to watch their dancing, their performances. Now, what did you think about the Dream Academy edit that we received? What did you think about those?
I wanted it more raw, I think. I think I either want it, either do it like it's a real performance.
Yeah.
Because they tried to make the vocals sound live when they weren't. Or just give me a music video. Give me a music video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like this weird mishmash of them looking like they're pretending to sing live in the street when they're not.
That's hilarious. Yes.
Yeah. And they even show them rehearsing it too. Like, I think at one point Megan's like trying to do her huge ad lib, and it's like, it's pre-recorded anyway. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then she was flat, and they kept letting her be flat. I'm like, y'all are not making her look good, because someone's going to pull this and use it against her.
Yeah, and she was doing like some crazy move during it too.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
She was doing like a whacking thing.
Like, come on.
And then,
Come on.
And then
like,
she was doing fisting and like, what's wrong? I'm like, girl, what the hell is going on? So no offense to Sohei and the other choreographer, but what the heck were y'all thinking? That was a moment for the hands. Yeah. Let her work the camera.
Yeah, no, they were like, we have to choreograph to every single 80 anda. You know?
80 anda, 2 on 1 hand, 3.
Yep.
Now, my thing is, I'm not blaming them, saying you guys are terrible choreographers, but I feel like whoever was like, yes, do that, are not thinking about what Western people would think. Like,
these are just dance videos.
Yeah, legit. Yeah. I mean, the dance portion of the videos are what's important to K-pop fans. Right. I mean, people in general. I mean, you look at TikTok dances, those dances that songs that have already had choreography, people are making new dances to, right? And people learn those. But like the buttons dance was huge with the little punch up and the little finger. Like, we all know it, you know? So I guess that is important in terms of visual things. Even though you and I grew up listening to singers and knowing their ad-libs and doing the ad-libs and the other little hidden vocals. So it's interesting kind of see, like, generationally speaking, like what we attach ourselves to and what like K-pop fans now attach themselves to. So I guess it worked out. But then you have instances with like buttons. Manon sounded like a pancake. Flat. Super flat. Pre-recorded or otherwise sounded flat. Yeah. And then she was so busy thinking about the steps, she just looked like, you know, like a very
blank eyes.
But gorgeous. Yes. And I'm like, dang. So watching the Dream Academy, I didn't really notice her as much. Yes. I thought she looked pretty, but I didn't really notice. Sophia stood out because she was eating it up. Ponytail, skirt, giving it to you.
And she was sick.
Yeah.
Come
to find out. Find out. Confident is the performance that made me go, wow, for Lara. And I'm like, it's so interesting how in the Netflix show, they mentioned that her skill was like just okay and she needed some work here and there. But I'm like, out of all the new surprise trainees like Samara and Celeste and Marquis and the rest of them, she was pretty well-rounded. I think Marquis kind of got shafted it a bit in the confident group because you have Megan, who's tall and like kind of like lead vocal material. You have Lara, who sings the way she does, who's very much confident in who she is as an Indian American girl. And then you have Yoonchae, who is the only, not only, but she is one of the, only like Korean Idol trained people there. And you have Marquis, who can sing, but she's not standing out as much. Like Yoonchae wasn't like outstanding to me, really. But she was holding her own with the other two girls I mentioned. And then you watch the Netflix show and you find out she was going to school and then coming to rehearsal, which also makes me a little bit more annoyed with Manon for missing that buttons rehearsal again. You know, so it's interesting. Nayoung being eliminated during this portion didn't make sense at the time because I was like, well, why'd you get rid of her?
She was good.
Yeah, I mean, she had some weird little awkward moments when she was dancing, but honey, she could sing her face off.
She has star quality as well, for sure.
Yeah, but she wanted to be solo as expressed in the Netflix, and you can't have that in a group. So, I mean, again, it's good to have that backstory, but again, it's just like, dang, when you're watching it and then getting the hindsight, it's like, oh shoot, that happened. So, who stood out for you? I feel like this was like kind of like a definitive moment for a lot of people where they were like, oh snap, I like this person.
I think first off, before I get into that, I just want to say, I think Geffen needed to do a focus group or survey or something on Americans who don't like K-pop and why they don't.
Yes.
And use that to inform how to make this group a true hybrid between a Western and a K-pop group.
Okay, go ahead.
Because from my opinion, I actually don't think a lot. So from my experience talking to people who don't love K-pop or haven't gotten into K-pop, a lot of it actually is because they're just dance troops. You know, like that actually, I think actually is something that people don't connect to.
That's what I was saying about us.
Even if you look at what kind of goes viral sometimes now, it's actually like Hilary Duff and her like really basic routine. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. But like people don't need this craziness. Right. And I think this mission could have been an opportunity to actually do something that was a mix. Like even if you took the Pussycat Dolls kind of model and had, when they're singing, you know, like they're singing and the rest are dancing their asses off.
Yeah.
You know, to still show off that ability and maybe the choruses and stuff, you can have them go really all out with it.
Yeah.
But I think actually Western, like,
that's what I was saying about us. Like we latch onto like the vocals and everything, not like the whole.
Yeah.
We want
like,
the dance break for
like
that.
A lot. This is just a lot. Like these videos, I think impress the dancer in me.
Yes.
But they don't really impress the pop fan in me. And I think that's an issue. And so I'm surprised they didn't actually try and, I don't know, like the whole point was to make a Western-facing girl group that had trained in K-pop, but you should also take into account why K-pop hasn't worked yet overall. I don't know.
Let's go. Hang on. Wait. Yeah. Let the mic drop. Let it sizzle for a bit. Let the mic drop. Yeah, fine, mate. Go off.
Okay. Anyway, I thought Confident was amazing. Yes. I think all four of them did such a good job. I think Marquis also really stepped up here
she did step
as
up,
well.
Yeah.
And I think she actually is one of the ones that had a lot of potential.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, they killed that, I think.
That's
Wannabe, hated it. Hated
so I didn't mention it. I didn't mention it if you didn't notice.
Because the song, the people who choreographed this don't know this song and what it's really about, I think. And the real like history of it, because it shouldn't be this cute.
Cutesy.
Yeah. I hated it. I think the girls actually looked pretty good as a group because you did have kind of the smaller framed ones together.
Yeah.
Like, so like Emily as well as Samara like together.
Yeah.
They look really good.
Yes.
Ua sounded absolutely awful. Yeah, like a genuine cringe.
It was bad.
Sorry.
It was bad.
Buttons was good. I do wish that they, again, this is like the Western pop fan in me, but like sing the chorus together. Do like do all those together. Do the callbacks together.
Yes.
Like even if Nicole recorded it all, at least Melody and Carmit would sing those parts. You know?
Yes.
Come on. Because at least in Wannabe, there were some harmonies. Like, didn't you want to be my love? Like, they did a little bit of harmony there, group singing.
They could have did a Britney Spears song at that point because it's like I feel like they made it. The song is about getting smashed, y'all. I don't think people realize that.
Yeah,
like it's about getting laid. It's not about you're my best friend. Like it's palatable.
It is interesting. I've seen some opinions online saying that Buttons, I guess, going viral because of like that dance routine and stuff, actually was a big influence for who ended up getting in and like who became the framing and how they're going to build the group. And they were like, okay, maybe fans want this kind of like
hotter,
sexier,
yeah.
Which they're young, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But I feel like you don't need to put that much weight on it because these TikTok trends I don't think they mean anything long term. That move is just fun to do. Like that's it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought Confident was the best one.
I agree. I go back to that all of the time because
Lara,
say
she is my fave. Then just say she's my fave.
Episode 3 when they said we need someone that's going to fill stadium and she just
yes. She's my favorite for sure. I think she's awesome.
Absolutely. No, she and Megan.
Yes, I agree. Megan's up there.
Yeah, Megan's been like the consistent you know, I've enjoyed them. Sophia's great. Don't get me wrong, but like those two have always been like wow.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll talk more about the members shortly because we're now at the finale where they sang or performed, I'll say, some original songs. And they did Girls Don't Like Dirty Water, and then all of them performed all the same. And early fan voting occurred on Weverse from November 10th to 17th, and then live voting occurred for the first 30 minutes of the finale. And again, fan votes plus the panel of 3 HYBE and Geffen executives made their choices. Yeah. And input of both label CEOs were also used to decide the winners. And in the end, Samara, Emily, Ezrella, and Marquis were eliminated, and the final group was chosen. So before we get to the final group, what did you think of the finale, those songs, and all that?
Okay, so those, oh my God, those songs.
Terrible.
Okay, so I want to just put it out there. Whoever wrote the song, I meant to look it up, but whoever wrote the song, I know you have better work. I know you do. Yeah. I would say that right now. I didn't like Dirty Water. Was not my favorite.
No.
I like the outfits of the silver.
Sure. Yeah.
Sorry. I feel bad for Ezrella because during that whole performance, she had one of 2 lines, and then it just kept going back to Samara, and then Lara, and then Sophia, and everyone else, and then she popped up in the middle to dance, and I was like, damn, interesting. Ooh. Big oof. But I will say, overall though, everyone seemed performance ready. So just kind of before I go to the next song, everyone seemed performance ready. I didn't look at them and go, oh my God, how did she make it this far? I looked and was like, okay, I want to hear this girl. Why can't I hear her? The visuals were good. The facials were there. The movements seemed like, intact and in sync. In sync. I can appreciate that. I see that their style to their personality types, etc. Okay, I can appreciate that. With what's that song? Girls Don't Like. That one was a little bit more interesting to me. Yeah. I like it a little bit more than Dirty Water because I like the whole concept of girls not liking girls that don't like girls who like boys who like. I was like, okay,
that line was catchy. Yeah.
Yeah, that part. Interestingly enough, I did not even realize that Yoonchae had made it that far at that point when I was watching the YouTube thing because I watched it, but for some reason she never stood out. And I think it's because you have when you're in a group with someone like Lara or someone like Sophia or next to someone like Megan or even Danny, it's like, and then you had the other Nayoung for a while. Nayoung was my pick. I was like, she needs to make this group. And then suddenly she's gone. And then Yoonchae kind of has an opportunity.
Emerged.
Not like her being gone. Yeah, that's what happened. So I noticed her a lot more in this performance. And I was like, oh yeah, nice. Emily was the one I sat and thought, great dancer. Nice-ish voice. Don't see her in this group when I was watching it happening. Marquis didn't stand out. I don't know if it was because she was wearing this leather vest.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something about her just looked like she was part of a cover group dance team.
That performance wasn't good for her.
Not at all. Not at all. And I felt so bad because I'm like, why am I not connecting with you right now? But then everyone else, I was like, oh, they look good together.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I like, things like that are those, even though like the first 30 minutes of that episode, people were voting. If people were allowed to vote while the performances were happening, I could imagine how the numbers would have been going up and down because it's like, ooh, I didn't notice you before. Suddenly, this is your moment to shine. So it's a shame for Marquis and Emily, but at that point, it was like, I can see who's in this group.
Yeah.
I will say, though, at the end of everything, I was a little surprised at Manon.
Yeah.
I was. Because I wanted Samara to be in the group. But
were the two kind of against each other at that point? They were, right?
I would say in terms of like the light-skinned Afro girl
they
thing
look quite
going
different,
on.
Though.
They do, but they have a similar kind of not silhouettes, but like they're both caramel complexion.
Yes.
One can really sing and she's pretty. She has a great pop vocal. Yeah. And you have one who's pretty, hasn't been a great pop vocal, but she's really pretty. And you go back to the one that has the pop vocal who is pretty, but then has an internet issue where she has opinions that don't really align with the general pop. Where do those votes go? Because at first, we love her. She's great. We love her. She's amazing. And then suddenly something happened on the internet that showed all the facts. Not as relevant. Yeah. And I'm not sure if that was really the case, but I remember like suddenly Samara wasn't really like getting the love that she was once getting by the time the finale popped up.
I read all about that after the fact. When I was just watching all this, I thought Samara was also the most robbed, I think, out of everyone.
Yeah.
I pretty much agree with the whole group except for Yoonchae, I would say.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
don't really feel like she gives the same energy. I think the rest that made it in kind of have
similar, like
quite powerful, I would say.
Yes.
And there's a slight tomboyishness, I think, there.
To them. Yep.
Yoonchae does not have any of that.
No.
So I think just from watching these final performances, she just didn't, I don't know. I would have given it to Samara. I get the issues now, but just objectively.
Yes. Totally.
Yeah. I will say All the Same was giving me beauty pageant. Like it was like the end of Miss Congeniality. Like
yeah,
it was
yeah. And they're like looking at the camera.
So bad. I'm sorry. That song was terrible. I cannot believe that was their final song.
Sorry.
Honestly though, I think you could actually take the 4 that were eliminated and they could probably make a pretty good girl group. It is all the smaller framed ones. It is like Emily, Azrella, Samara. I think Marquis actually is very good. I think she killed it in Confident. I think this Girls Don't Like was just not a good moment for her.
No.
But I think if you wanted a more cutesy girl group, I think these 4 could do it. But
I don't like their aesthetic together.
I think it kind of works in Wannabe for those 3.
Oh, that's valid.
Yeah, I think visually it worked. I think it works. Energy-wise, it worked. Yeah.
I see your point. But yeah, Yoonchae, your Yoonchae pick is interesting too.
I don't get her. Yeah, and now talking about the final lineup, which is Yoonchae, Manon, Sophia, Daniela, Megan, and Lara, I still think, even watching stuff now, I still think Yoonchae doesn't really work for me, just energy-wise, and it doesn't help that they've turned her into like this weird, or she's part of this weird lore where she's like missing or something. Like, what is that? Why? They just started. You don't even want them. Like, they should show unity. Like, why is one of them randomly missing? It's just,
I don't know if people were sick or not, because I know Megan was in some videos.
She's just in school, so they're like, we have all these extra shots we need to do. Like, it will just make up some lore that she's missing. I don't know.
Oh, God, probably. Oh, goodness. Oh, no. But yes, as you've mentioned, those were the girls that were chosen for the final lineup. Yes. I know Manon was shocked she made it too. I'm gonna be real with you. You saw her face. She was like, I mean, anyone would be surprised and honored to find out they were selected for a group.
Oh yeah, I mean, after like a 2-year process too. Yeah, like, that's a lot, especially when you're that young. That's a long time.
Yes, I mean, I was joking. I mean, obviously, she definitely got in. I won't say definitely deserved it, but she earned her place. I will say she earned it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you're hilarious in terms of saying that Yoonchae doesn't fit. And I think they're doing a workaround now in terms of their personality, because each girl in Katseye, which I think was a cute name, because what was the other choices?
Oh yeah, they were terrible.
Garbage. I don't even want to think about it right now.
Yeah, I don't even remember now.
Yeah, not right now. But yeah, I think now with Katseye, their whole thing is that each girl has a charm, and a literal charm to match their charm.
Right.
Where like
which
Lara
I'm fine with that.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've given her something that was soft and sweet. She gives them like she grounds them. She gives them something like balancy and whatever. I forgot what her little charm was, but it fits her temperament, which I appreciate. Even the way they dress her is a little bit more. I mean, obviously because she is one of the younger girls, but it's a little bit more modest, and I appreciate that. So everyone now in this group has a spot, a slot, a personality. I think with Yoonchae, for me, she's able to turn it on when she performs with them. I was watching their KPop performance, and she's in the center for their debut, like the La La La's, and she turns it on. She'll give you a little eyebrow. She'll give you the whole little, like, confident, like, little head thing. She can hold her own when she's surrounded by them. I think when they're interacting, there is a bit of a disconnect because maybe her English has gotten better, but there is like a personal, like, I am this kind of girl. This is how I am. Very kind of idly. Like, yes, this is my group members. They're my coworkers. I respect my coworkers. They're very talented.
Yeah.
I got that feeling. Sister, I'm not really getting just yet, but I mean, it's kind of understandable as well. There might be some cultural things that she's not really meshing with, or maybe by now it's gotten a lot better because it has been such a long time since they worked together. But I did get the coworker vibe. Like, I like my coworker vibe from her for a little bit. I do wonder what would have happened to the group had Samara made it, because then you would have had like a bunch of vocalists in this group.
Yeah.
But she was a weaker dancer. Not that huge of a deal. But she also had a knee injury. Oh, my God. Anyway.
Yeah, so I wonder how much the injury actually played into it as well.
But, yeah. Oof. Big oof. But yeah, I feel like now, just like looking at them perform and stuff like that together, Yoonchae has stepped up to the plate in terms of matching their fierceness. I don't think she'll ever be as ferocious as like Lara or like as, you know, I don't know, intense as Megan can be or fiery as Daniela. But Sophia also kind of has like this watery kind of, I'm using elements to describe them, but you know how water kind of crashes and flows? Sophia is like the crashy and flowy, and Yoonchae's kind of like airy. So I guess in some type of sense, they all have something that makes them charming to this group and makes sense. So yeah, I think she fits now, but I can understand your like initial like
yeah, I don't know. I still don't fully see it. I don't know. Maybe if she gets older though, it'll be a little easier.
Oh, valid. Yeah. I mean, she's like 16. She's a kid.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Katseye did release their first project.
Yeah.
SIS or SIS.
Yes.
Just Soft is Strong.
Yes.
In August of 2024. And this had debut, Touch, My Way, I'm Pretty, and Tonight I Might.
Yeah.
So what did you think overall of this project?
This was the most unremarkable project for a group that they've spent so much money and time and energy on. I'm not even going to be nice about it. Like, the songs are nice. The songs are pleasant, but anyone could have made these songs. Nothing about these songs give me cat's eye. Nothing about it is like Lara produces and songwrites, and nothing about it feels like she had a hand in it. I know Ryan Tedder did debut, and I like how fierce it is, but why in the Lord's name, whatever Lord you believe in, would y'all sit there and have singers like Lara, Manon, and Megan, who is a good buffer singer?
Yeah.
She's a good filler singer. She's a good singer. Yeah. She's not going to be like, oh my God, amazing. She can belt her face off. But you give her a note, the girl's going to hit it. Why not have them sing a bridge? I said that during our pop-off a couple weeks ago. And then it was crazy. There's a video of all three of those girls that I just mentioned harmonizing together, singing My Way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where are the bridges on this album that show that these girls can sing, because y'all made them sing, major air quotes, on the show? And again, I think K-pop's biggest issue, or like this group's biggest issue, is going to be the fact that they're K-pop adjacent. They show up in K-pop search engines. They show up with the metadata for K-pop. They're not even being pushed to Western music. Like, why are their songs not being promoted here? Why are they not having like a little meet and greet around the States? Why is it only in California? Why are they only doing it? What is going on? Why is there no Western push? Why are they not performing at the VMAs what Le Seraphim is? You know, things like that. So for me, I just feel like the songs are not bad. They have pretty moments. Wow, she sounds really pretty here, but nothing that was outstanding. And I know I sound super negative, but it's because I'm just a little disappointed, because these girls deserve a little bit better. And I'm hoping that by the time second album rolls around, something worthwhile will be on it. For their first project, I hope they're very proud of it. But I know they can do better. And I know that they know they can do better. So why not give them better? Give them stronger.
Yeah.
It's okay, but it's just faceless.
I think debut definitely has the fierceness that I expected from this group. I think as kind of the first track, it feels right. Like, I think it's mildly annoying, just personally, just for my own taste. But it feels authentic to them. Touch, we gave our thoughts in the pop-off, so go check that out if you want. Still love the dance routine, but yeah, just doesn't give me the full climax that I want.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. The whole project is just a bit boring. It's unremarkable. It feels generic. It feels safe. Nothing stands out about it. Like, there's nothing in there that makes me want to listen to it again.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
And of course, again, and I've said this a lot about HYBE in general, the way they produce the vocals, none of the tones stand out at all. I can barely tell who is singing.
Yeah.
I could be listening to anyone. Like, there's just nothing about it that makes me want to listen to it. I will say, just listening through the project, Tonight I Might does have some interesting melodies in there, so at least perked my ears like a little bit.
Yeah.
But the rest is just, it's so boring. There's just no statement in there at all. Like, establish your sound. Like, what are you trying to go for? Like, I just don't get it. Like, do your research. Like, Fifth Harmony are not a good example, of how to establish a girl group. Go to Little Mix.
Yes.
Go to Girls Aloud.
Go to Flow.
Go to Pussycat Dolls. Yeah, go to Flow. Like, they did such a good job in those first like 3 or 4 singles to establish what they were about. And then you can kind of branch off after that once you've kind of established your main solid kind of core fan base.
Yeah.
But you need to make a statement in the beginning. And Spice Girls, All Saints, like even all the way back, you know, like Destiny's Child, like TLC, like they really made a statement with those first couple songs.
Yes.
And this just makes no impact. I just don't get it. I don't understand what the A&R was going for here. Like none was were these even sent to radio? Like I just don't really get what the marketing was. Like or they were relying on TikTok. Touch, to be fair, Touch I have seen everywhere, and I've seen a lot of random people like doing the dance, you know?
Yes, I know some people that do it too, but that's still not enough though. Virality is not
longevity.
Not at all. You said that earlier. You said it earlier, and here it is making its comeback.
Right, exactly. So look, I'm here. I will definitely support them. Like I'm just curious what's going to happen. I think there's so much potential. There's so much talent here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need you to pull up. Like, I just don't know if the demand is really there inherently for a girl group like this.
I mean, it could be if the music was outstanding, and that's the thing. Right. You're so busy trying to make them sound like K-pop that you don't realize that here in the West, we like individualism. So if you're gonna have a group, you better make them sound super individually.
But the way, like, so I'm saying the way they are now, I just don't really see the appeal or who they're trying to appeal to.
K-pop fans, which is not great. No offense,
which is
K-pop
not the right move. Yeah,
K-pop fans are good, but not trying to be funny. I don't think people realize that K-pop in Korea
is not that popular.
Not that popular. Yeah, I'm sorry. You can't see my hand if you're listening, but I went like straight across. It's a flat line. It's like, okay, knowing Justin Bieber or knowing Selena Gomez. It's not like, oh my God, this is like the best thing ever. To us as a Western fans or not Korean fans, it's niche. It's special. Oh my God, I'm a unicorn. No one listens to this. No one appreciates it.
Yeah.
Okay, kind of special. But in the grand scheme of music, country music, rap music, alternative pop music, that is king right now.
Yeah.
That's it. Maybe in the UK, you might get a girl group. Maybe they have 2 girl groups that are kind of pop prevalent right now in the UK. But like here in the West, unless you have something like amazing going on or like lean a little bit more toward R&B, you are going to have a hard time. A hard time. Yeah. So I do hope that whoever at HYBE and Geffen is picking out these songs, they actually stop trying to appeal to a demographic that, I mean, they just didn't want to appeal to a younger audience. They did say that. I get it. But with the way you're dressing these girls, at the age that these girls are, they're going to want to sing a little bit more than Touch, Touch, Touch debut. They might want to sing about falling in love, falling out of love, just being really hot people one day. And you can't say, well, we can't sing that because our demographic's 13, 14, 15, 16. So I'm hoping that they find this balance of presenting ferocity, but also, and K-pop like K-pop influence, but also being able to be like, this is an awesome song that can stand alone on its own without the visual, without choreography. It's just a damn good song. And I think it shouldn't be hard to do. It just depends on their intentions. But shout out to those girls. Hopefully they get a chance to actually write their own music because you have a group of talented girls who can write and sing. So hopefully they'll get a chance to actually contribute to their own project. The next time they come out with something, which will probably be in freaking another year.
I mean, I think actually just thinking about it, I think Little Mix are actually a great kind of base to look at.
Yeah.
Like Wings, I think it does appeal to kind of
a younger crowd.
Both demographics, so there is still like an edge to K-pop, it, but it's still like very bright.
Yeah.
And then they did show a bit more later on, but it still felt quite young.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
wow. Yeah. If we had an opportunity to put a little group together, I mean, you know what, guys? That's why you should watch our interview with Min. Because we talked about this and why it's so important to have the right team around you and having people choose music for you that's relevant to who you are as an artist and what you want to portray. So check that out. And definitely check out our pop-up episode where we talk about Katseye Touch. That was a fun episode as well. Hi, guys. Quick update from us from the future. Or the past, depending on when this video gets released. But the point is, Katseye has been performing in Korea So they've done Music Bank Ikigayo.
Yes, we have a lot more performances to watch and judge.
Yes. And has your mind changed at all? Because I think I stand by what I said about Yoonchae. She turns on for this group,
okay.
you know?
I see it. I will actually say, in general, these performances are so much better than the KCON Good Morning America ones.
Yes.
A lot more comfortable. And yeah, I agree with you. Yoonchae's getting better.
Yeah, I mean, she's the young one, but she holds her own. I think the idol training definitely helps because she definitely...
Yeah. I think for some reason, I just felt she just gave different energy than the others. But
no, I mean, on the show,
these performances, and it might be down to just the way these performances are produced and filmed and everything as well.
Sure.
But no, she definitely seems to just kind of be on the same level with these performances now, which is great. Yeah.
Oh, we love a good growth moment. Oh, we love it. Especially, and even Manon, I'm very happy to see that she's clocked in for work as well.
Yes. And the mics are on. The backing track is still more on. But that's progress. That's progress. Give us an acoustic next, please.
Oh, yes. Again,
Harmonies.
I called it Megan and Sophia and Lara are the vocal line, and they post something on their Instagram. So
give me all 6. They can freaking do the chorus together. I don't care about the vocal line, the dance line. They are singers. They are singers.
No, they're dancers according to KPop.
That I will never let go. But yes.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by the newer performances for sure. So
absolutely
excited to see where they go, and stay tuned to our channel because for sure, as they release more music, we will be discussing and reacting.
Oh, absolutely. See you soon. Icons.
Yes.
Sound off in the comments below. Let us know what you all think of Katseye and the Netflix documentary. Please keep in mind that all things we have said, although maybe critical at some point, are not hate. Okay? So be kind or not. Either way, it's fine. Let us know in your comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more views from us. Also, we have a Patreon and a free tier. So if you'd like to have priority choice into what we decide and talk about on our show, definitely visit us on patreon.com/cctvpop. Until next time, that's Chris.
That's Chantel.
And we are CCTV, the non-stop pop show. Are we both wiggling?
Yeah.